guys for being here, especially that guy up there. I appreciate you.
Sì, thank you. Grazie mille per essere qui a Roma e per presentare il film, per parlare del film. Inizierei con una domanda per rompere il ghiaccio. Come è stato rendere effettivo questo passaggio di testimone, o meglio di scudo, che avevamo già visto in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, ma qui c'è proprio la consacrazione cinematografica, e che cosa rappresenta per te oggi Captain America?
It was a huge experience. I mean, a lot of people might not know. My first movie was this little movie called 8 Mile. And if you want to feel old, that was 24 years ago.
Wow.
Right. So this isn't my first ball. So it's been an amazing ride, a wild ride. And when I came into the MCU 11 years ago, and I never saw this coming. I never thought that this was a possibility. So it's kind of like a dream come true. You know, I grew up watching Superman, you know, and Batman. Like Michael Keaton is my Batman, you know. So to be a group of kids, Captain America is something that is really, really amazing.
Cosa rappresenta per te oggi come supereroe Captain America?
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, you know, America should be one of those representations. Like, it's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity. Someone who is trustworthy and dependable. You know, it's kind of, this is kind of like an aspect of a dream coming true. You know, when I was a kid, you know, all of us as actors, I believe, want to get back to that day before someone told you no. When you look out your door and you see a 5-year-old kid with a stick and he's slaying dragons to save the princess in the tower, that kid really believes there are dragons out there. That stick is really a sword and he's really trying to save that princess. And then one day somebody told him, no, there are no dragons, that's not a sword, and that princess is not there. And all of his little dreams were dashed. So, you know, as an actor, I feel like our job is to get back to the day where we see that dragon and we slay that dragon to save that princess. And that's kind of what this movie was for me. You know, walking on set every day and seeing my friends and, you know, getting to hang out with Harrison Ford, you know. It was, Harrison Ford loves Italian food, by the way.
Which one?
It was weird. One day, it was our first day meeting. I was like, yo, Harrison, you know, it's Harrison Ford. Like, can we hang out? Like, can I take you out? Can we hang out? What do you eat? And he goes, oh, Anthony, you know, I eat clean Italian. So I text all my Italian friends, and I was like, what the hell is clean Italian? Like, I don't know what, I'm like, is that like salad? Or like, what would that be? Fish? You know? So I go back to him, and I'm like, clean Italian, good, 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 good. So I called this restaurant, at this Italian restaurant in Atlanta where we shot, and I asked the chef, I was like, hey, can you make clean Italian? And he's like, are you saying I don't wash my food? I'm like, no. I don't know what clean Italian is. And I still haven't figured it out. No, I just took him to a restaurant. He was like, that's how Harrison talks.
Non lo sappiamo neanche noi qual è il Clean Italian. Comunque...
That's what I'm saying. I still don't know. I was hoping somebody would say, well, clean Italian.
Pasta?
I don't know.
Però,
Gluten-free pasta. I don't know.
Però prima di passare la parola ai colleghi, te lo devo chiedere, lei già ha iniziato questo argomento, com'è stato averlo sul set Harrison Ford? Cioè, voglio dire, Han Solo, Indiana Jones che si trasforma in Red Hulk davanti a te, che effetto ti ha fatto?
It was very nerve-wracking. One of my favorite days, well, actually it was a heartbreaking day. This is probably the worst day in cinematic history for this one guy. There was this guy, and he was sitting at a computer, and there's a scene where Harrison walks into like a boardroom, and this guy has one line. Through the whole movie, he just has one line. He has to turn to Harrison Ford and say his line with confidence to Harrison Ford. So we come on set, so Harrison goes, "You have any updates?" He turns around and he goes, forgets his line. We go back in the hallway. Harrison goes, "This isn't gonna go well." And I'm like, "No, it don't look like it." He goes in again, goes, "Action, do. You have any updates?" And the guy goes, "Well, cut, forgot his line. Third time Harrison comes in, he goes, "Hey kid, just relax, say your line, say it to me." Kid goes, and this is like a 50-year-old man. Like, this is a dude who's waited his entire life to say a line to Harrison Ford, right? He just didn't think one day he would find himself in a shitty position of actually saying a line to Harrison Ford. So he turns around the third time and he just bursts into tears. And Harrison goes, "You did a good job, kid. You did a good job." I pat him on the shoulders and we walk back out in the hallway. We come in, there's a different dude in the chair. That dude got fired. It's heartbreaking. I never saw him again. But the next dude actually was able to say the line. He did a very good job. You'll see him in the movie. He's actually good.
Grazie per aver condiviso questo. Io lascio la parola ai colleghi. Ne vedo uno lì. Grazie.
Buongiorno a tutti, Lucrezia.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Prego.
Lucrezia Leombruni, ADN Kronos. Spesso nel Marvel Cinematic Universe i supereroi si trovano a dover interagire con il governo e le istituzioni. Le chiedo, se tu fossi nella realtà Captain America, quale leadership consiglieresti al neoeletto presidente? Grazie.
Which leadership would I recommend? Meaning, what advice would I give him? See. I would tell him to be understanding and compassionate. I think the great thing about being a leader is you don't have to tell people what to do. But if you listen to everyone, you can come up with an overall idea of what everyone wants and needs. And as a leader, you take that course and move forward. So I would tell them to be open-minded and compassionate.
Abbiamo un'altra? Ah, ok, ce n'è una da Zoom, Federica Marcucci, Ginger Generation. Abbiamo visto che il rapporto
Where are you? Where are you?
It's on Zoom. So you can read it here. You want to read it in Italian?
Where is Zoom?
We have cameras, abbiamo le telecamere.
Oh, they didn't tell me we were on camera.
Sì, ti guardano da Zoom. E c'è Federica, che ha questa Federica Marcucci Ginger Generation, che chiede: abbiamo visto che il rapporto fra il tuo personaggio e quello di Ross ruota attorno al tema della fiducia. Questo disincanto ci parla anche della nostra contemporaneità, in cui le pressioni sociali e lo scetticismo vanno di pari passo, secondo te? It's a tricky one.
One more time. This is a hell of a Zoom question, guys. Wait, what? Federica Marcucci? No. Wait, what? Say that.
Okay. Forse. Possiamo sintetizzarla come parla della fiducia il film, del tema della fiducia. Okay.
I am not losing my mind. I have an earpiece in, and there's a woman talking to me. I'm not having an emotional breakdown. I'm okay. No, it's definitely, the entire Marvel universe always deals with trust and understanding between your enemy or your ally, really. If you look at anybody in the universe, even when it was Captain America and Iron Man, there was an aspect of trust and that trust being taken away or broken. So with Red Hulk is more so the idea of, Ross and Sam have a very long history dating back through the entire universe when Sam came in Captain America Winter Soldier. So he knows who Ross is, and both being military men, there's a certain understanding they have with each other. So they trust each other because they both live under the guidance and the teachings of the military, but they're also both individuals, so he don't agree with him. The same way Steve Rogers didn't agree with Iron Man or Robert Downey Jr. or whoever the hell he is now. We have no idea where he is now. He's probably somebody else. Like.
C'è una domanda lì?
Hi, Marta
Hello.
Zarboretti, best movie. Let me just say that Calvi Cap is just awesome. I'm not gonna write that today, but thank you. And I've been waiting months to ask you this question. Would you describe for us your relationship with one of the most important villains of this Brave New World, which is our Giancarlo Esposito? If you want to say something as an actor or as a human being, whatever you want, thank you.
It was a huge get or opportunity for Giancarlo to be a part of this movie. I've known him. Excuse me. What?
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
Okay. But I moved to New York when I was 18 years old, and being a theater actor, he's someone that I grew up and admired all through my career and all through my training. So to be able to do a movie with him now at this point in my career is huge. And I specifically asked for him, and he just happened to be available. So it was really fun, and having so much history. I mean, we've known each other over 25 years now, and he's seen me since I was that big, and I've seen him, since Do the Right Thing, and back in the day. So having an actor of that caliber, of that level, I feel like only adds to the movie, and it adds to the actor, because when Esposito's on set, I have to bring my A game, because I know if I don't, he's going to run me over like a Mack truck, and it was fun. I mean, working with him, Tim Blake Nelson, all of them, it was really the best actors I could have asked for to be a part of this movie.
Una domanda lì?
Salve, Giulia Bianconi del Tempo. Volevo chiedere, spesso si
Ciao,
dice...
Giulia.
Ciao, piacere. Spesso si dice che il cinema possa anticipare la stessa realtà. Qua si vede un attentato a un presidente rosso e cattivo, possiamo dire. E quanto questo film è specchio dell'America di oggi, visto che poi c'è anche una frase, il paese perso. Cosa ne pensa? Grazie.
I think this movie is more so entertainment. I think, with all of these Marvel movies and with the Captain America moniker, they're always about, espionage. They're always about politics. They are political. They're always psychological thrillers. So I think this is more so about what we're going through as characters in the MCU, as opposed to what we're going through as Americans with a new president.
C'è una domanda da Zoom? Another question from Zoom.
Oh no, nobody here has a question. Please, you, no more the Zoom, no.
È buona, è tranquilla,
Oh.
Gabriele Laurino, everyeye.it.
Oh.
Il film sembra avere un ritmo molto frenetico. Quanto è stato impegnativo per te a livello fisico, soprattutto rispetto ai film passati e alla serie in cui eri protagonista? Okay.
It was very demanding in many different ways, because not just acting, but I produced on the movie as well. So we had a great team. Nate Moore, who was the executive producer, also produced Captain America: Winter Soldier. So I've been on this entire journey through the MCU with him. And Julius Ona, our director, is just a really brilliant guy. So being able to work with him and Nate on this movie and this character and develop it and, you know, giving us the best possible product, like that first scene, like I feel like that is a quintessential Marvel scene. Like that's a way to open a movie, you know? And when you see that, it's like buckle your seatbelts because you know you're going into a movie, you know? And I feel like, you know, as an actor, the physicality and all that stuff, that's the easy part. You know, going to the gym and eating salad and chicken breast, like that's the easy part. You know, making these characters memorable and making this storyline true is what's hard. And that's what the biggest fight was. How do we make you as an audience relate to this character in this situation? You know, the last time we saw Steve Rogers in Endgame, he was standing on a cliff with an entire army in front of him that were about to run through him. And all of us went, oh no, Steve's gonna die. And then you see the rest of us, you know, blip back in, and everybody's like, yeah! You know, everybody had that emotional experience of knowing that the good guys actually had a chance now. And that's I feel like the role of an actor and the business of Marvel is to, especially Captain America, is to give you that experience where you solely and completely relate to that character. And I think Julius and everybody on the production team did a great job with it. I'm very proud of the movie, and the heavy lifting was making that real for you instead of all the other stuff.
Una delle scene più iconiche del cinema, comunque quella che stavi raccontando. C'è una domanda lì.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buongiorno, Martina Barone per NSS Magazine. Sono qui.
Ciao, baby.
Ciao, buongiorno.
I practiced that.
L'anno scorso la Marvel ci ha fatto vedere al cinema soltanto un film, quindi questa è un po' anche una ripartenza in qualche maniera, intanto per Capitan America e proprio per l'intero universo. Perciò volevo sapere che cosa significa prendere in mano questa eredità dal passato ed anche che cosa dobbiamo aspettarci da queste nuove fasi, se si tratta anche di una sorta di rebranding non soltanto del personaggio ma dell'intero universo. Grazie.
That's a good question. I wouldn't say it's so much of a rebranding. We all knew that Infinity War and Endgame were going to be like hard to top and hard to come back from. When you call something Endgame, that's the end of the game. So how do you start over? You know? And if you look at just the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, it started with Captain America, the first Avenger. And from that was like the foundation that the universe and the house was built on. So this movie is a lot like Captain America, the first Avenger. When you go back and watch it now, you see, oh, this is where they were going. This movie is the same building point or block that the universe is using to kind of set up that next climb to that pinnacle story and that pinnacle feat like Endgame was. So of course there's going to be boop-a-doop-a-doop, boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop, because there was nothing, there was no way on earth any movie could come out after Endgame and you would go, oh, beginning game, that was good. No, it don't work like that. So, you know, it's not so much a rebranding. It's just you needed those storylines to carry over from Endgame into the next generation or the next phase. Prego.
C'è un'altra domanda qui?
Keep asking, no more Zooms. Keep asking questions.
No,
Whatever
qui.
you have to ask.
Ciao, Chiara Nicoletti, Fraternity Radio. I was listening to you talking about, kids dreaming also about being superheroes. So I was wondering, do you think that Captain America brings a responsibility towards the audience, towards those children, not only into the cinematic world, but also in life?
I think all films carry a huge responsibility. I think we as actors, you know, we carry a huge responsibility when portraying those characters, because those are the characters that kids are going to grow up and try and emulate. You know, when I was a kid, we had, you know, He-Man, you know, we had all these, you know, great characters of social dignity and stamina and goodwill towards man. You know, you look at G.I. Joe, it was good versus evil. You know, it was all these great characters. There was always bad, but there was always a really, really good guy. You know, and that's why early on in my career, I was like, I want to see a Wonder Woman movie. Like, you know, when I was growing up, like Wonder Woman, Linda Carter was the pinnacle of like awesome kick-ass chicks. Like, she taught me that girls were badass. You know, so I think we carry a huge responsibility as actors and as filmmakers and storytellers, especially when we're showing things to kids and influencing them the way we do. Like, there should always be a bad guy. Like, they should always know that there are bad people out there. But this is how you act in the face of someone being a bad guy, instead of, you know, falling prey to that. You know, there's always a good guy to stand up against that, and you should try to be that good guy. You should try to be nice to people, you know. And I think that's the social responsibility that we have as actors and as filmmakers.
C'è una domanda lì?
Salve Caprara alla stampa, volevo chiedervi una cosa, qui si parla di rifare la squadra di Avengers, volevo sapere se secondo lui in questo momento in America, ma anche in generale nel mondo, con le guerre, con quello che sta succedendo, ci vorrebbe una squadra di Avengers nuova.
I think we need a new nice team. I think we should take one person from every area of the world, every part of the world, every region of the world, and let all of those one people get together and talk and listen to each other. I think that would like help a lot of people understand other people. Like when I came here to Rome, like I didn't come here and tell you how to make pizza. You know, I showed up and you were like, "This is pizza." I'm like, "Oh shit, oh, come on, yeah, that's pizza." You know, so I think if we like listen to each other and have compassion towards each other, the world would be much easier, and life would be a lot better. And I think that's what, when you look at Civil War, when you look at Endgame, when you look at all these things with these characters, you know, it teaches understanding and compassion. One of the biggest things in Civil War, which is why I love that movie so much, was it was able to break up one facet of heroes and make them warring heroes because they didn't have compassion towards each other. They didn't have compassion towards each other's feelings. It was either my way or the highway. And always, when somebody gives you that option, you always take the highway. So I think, you know, by the end of that movie, we saw the dignity and the compassion of Captain America come to life when he realized that he had turned into the monster who was willing to hurt his friend to get his point across. I think that's why these characters are so dope, because if you really, you know, look at them and value them to your own values, you know, it'll make you, you know, look at everybody and their understanding in a different way, in a much more understanding way.
Perfetto. C'è una domanda lì?
Ciao, buongiorno, Sonia Serafini, Esquire Italia. Uno dei temi del film è la giustizia, l'uguaglianza, le difficoltà di essere un eroe in un mondo complesso ma soprattutto ingiusto. Quindi volevo chiederti cosa vuol dire per te essere un eroe al giorno d'oggi, e poi mi collego alla tua risposta: se dovessi avere la tua Avengers dei sogni, tipo le figurine, chi sarebbero per te?
The Avengers from the comic book, or like dope ass people in the world?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever. Just I don't care.
No, but your dream.
Well, I mean, it would, for me, my dream Avengers team would just consist of all the people like I grew up admiring. You know, like my third grade acting coach, you know, Miss Sandra Richards. Like I grew up with amazing teachers in my life. Like I am truly a product of the New Orleans school system. Every step of my life, when I wasn't with my parents, I was with a teacher. And I think teachers are so important and so vital because second from our parents, we spend the most time with our teachers. So they're huge influences on us and we should like appreciate them. So that being said, I had some dope teachers along the way. And it would definitely be Miss Richards because she was the scariest lady I'd ever met in my life. And when I didn't read a play, she scared me into reading plays. And when I didn't know my lines, she was like, "You gotta learn it." She scared me into learning my lines. So she's very scary. She was like the Hulk of New Orleans child theater. So I would definitely take Miss Richards over anybody. I think somebody really cool like Steve McQueen, you know, just because it's Steve McQueen, right? And that would be dope. I would definitely put all the original Ghostbusters in there, just because that would be fun. And what if Slimer shows up? Gotta get him. So, you know, but also, you know, kind of the cool of the cool, the creme de la creme, if you would say. Monica Bellucci. I saw Monica Bellucci cause a traffic accident. Yeah. So she could definitely stop some aliens. So she would be like my like secret weapon that I would just throw out there, and all the like bad guys would go, "Ah!" You know. So that would definitely be my Avengers team.
Penso che sia la risposta perfetta, anche perché abbiamo finito il tempo, non c'è più tempo per fare le domande. Grazie mille Anthony per
No more
essere
Zooms.
qui con noi. No more Zoom, grazie mille. Vi ricordo che non c'è embargo per il pezzo sul Q&A, mentre c'è l'embargo per le reaction del footage. Grazie. 12 febbraio alle ore 10.
Thank you guys for coming.